Hello, my name is Heavyn Dyer-Jones. I'm a junior here at UW-Madison. I'm getting a BA in piano performance. And my experience with the DEIB Festival last year was it was something that I was really excited to participate in the first place because I think that having a program sort of centered around underrepresented works, artists that are still just as important, and their music and work, all of it is just as important as the repertoire that we're used to studying. I was really excited to hear about a festival that I could perform in as well that highlights those underrepresented works. And I've been working on pieces by African American composers, female composers, etc. for a few years now. I started with when I was in high school studying, and I got really interested in particularly Samuel Coleridge Taylor. He's an African English composer, and his 24 Negro Melodies. And I used one of them, I performed one of them for my college auditions, and ever since I sort of started with that repertoire, I became really just intrigued by just underrepresented works in general, not even just by Black composers, but I mean female composers, East Asian composers, just the people who we don't really study, because I've been studying classical piano since I was like 6, 7 years old, and I didn't really get started learning about those underrepresented artists until much later in my training, which I thought was interesting. So DEIB as a festival was really, really exciting for me to partake in and see others perform in, because I think that this campus has so many different kinds of people on it and so many different populations, and it's such a huge community. And I think that having just a program that's centered around these works that people won't typically hear about is really important. And so I think that was a really great thing for me to be a part of. I was excited for it. And then the community outreach performance was, again, just a really important experience for me, and I think also the audience members and, everyone else who performed, to just also like get used to this repertoire being in our conversations regularly instead of like just for specialized programs. And I think that the community outreach performance that we did sort of like took what we're trying to do and teach out of like just maybe the classical music realm and people who were, interested in that, and it went out, sort of into the community outside of just UW-Madison and the entire Madison area to see students perform works that they wouldn't typically see us perform, and just start having those conversations about, how do we get this kind of repertoire more regularly put into what we're teaching, not just for piano, but for all instruments, because there's so much like beautiful, stunning repertoire that exists out there that is just completely undermined or, not taught, because the composer was not necessarily regarded in history as, big of a genius as Bach or Chopin, when they were. It's about accessibility, and it's about, whose history has been well documented and whose has maybe been blurred a little bit. And so I think that community outreach, it's really just starting to begin the conversation of, how do we get this more typically put into our minds instead of, just every now and then. But yeah, that was very, very, that was also a very fun thing for me to participate in, and just to see people who aren't students, because I'm surrounded by students all the time. I love students, but just seeing who else makes up the Madison community, and, seeing that they came out to support and, because they themselves are taking that step to like learn maybe about things that they didn't know about before and hear music that they haven't heard before. So Yeah. I think that the message behind it and the people who take the time to, put it together, to show up to the performances, and the people who perform, it's really exciting for me to see, even just as a Black pianist, female pianist on this campus, and not typically seeing people who look like me or, et cetera, but meeting them and seeing that, we still relate on many different levels, and this music is something that we all share, and good music is good music, beautiful music is beautiful music, and so it's just really nice to enjoy and kind of relish in all of that with the community, and not, just kind of feel like I've been studying it and I'm the only one who's studying it. I'm seeing that there are a lot of people who are like trying to go out of the box that has kind of been created, I think, and just, experimenting with other things and, yeah, just evolving as artists. It's very, very cool to see.